Why art education is important in elementary school. A personal story. I've lived my life as an artist since I was a little boy. Drawing has always been a way to make new friends, express myself, and pave the way to my future. I've done so much with my life, and not once has art not been a part of it. I wouldn't know what I would do without it. From grade school, Boy Scouts, art contests, art shows, art galleries, U.S. Army, the American Academy of Art, graphic designing, tattooing, and now graduate school at Northern Illinois University, art has always been there for me. I never really thought about being an art teacher until last October of 2013, and since then, there is nothing else I'd rather be. Every day at school, now I reflect on how much art education has played such an important part of my life. I never was the greatest student at school, and there was a reason behind it that I did not know at the time. But art class was my moment to shine to show the rest of the students what I could do. Art class was my sanctuary, and my art teachers were my biggest mentors. Before I was in middle school, I only had art in my regular classes in elementary school. I loved making projects, and I excelled during class. I always felt I could make my project better than the rest of the students and even better than my teacher. There was one time where I was not allowed to participate in the first grade art project where the class had the choice to make a firefighter dog or cat. I was so upset that I could not be a part of this project. I remember paying close attention to the teacher as she gave the lesson on how to make the fire cat or dog. I couldn't wait to get home and make one of my own fire cat or dog. I had everything I needed from class to make the cat or dog. The question was, which one do I make? The cat or the dog? Well, I'm not at school now, I told myself, so I'm going to make both. The next day, I took my cat and dog to school and shared it with my teacher. She was very impressed that I remembered each step and made my own cat and dog. She even hung them up next to the other cat and dogs. I love seeing people stop to take a longer look at my work. It was one of my proudest moments that I can remember. As for my other school work, that was a part that I struggled the most at. Math, English were not my friends, and I didn't know how to connect with them. My parents decided that Aurora, Illinois would not be the best place for my sisters and I to grow up. So we moved to Sycamore, Illinois, and I started middle school. Even better, I had my very first art class. It was the best, and my teacher, Mrs. Long, was so nice and inspiring. She loved everything I did and put it all in the display case. Having my art in the case was so important to me. It gave me a sense of personal recognition. The next year in 8th grade, I had Mr. Pesca. This teacher was the first one to really push me and to make me more aware of what I see. I learned about line, color, negative and positive space, clay building, and so much more. It was that moment in my life when I really felt engaged. Why was school so hard and art made so much sense? I remember my parents, even teachers, saying I was being lazy, I don't try, I don't pay attention. This was so much pressure, and deep down inside I felt horrible. I was depressed, and I still didn't know what was wrong with me. When high school started, I was already discouraged and not as excited as the rest of the class. Kids were so mean and gave me such a hard time. Fitting in was not working well, and still I would be searching for some kind of hope. I remember walking into the art room for the first time. It was big, it was colorful, it had everything I needed. It was my safe place. Here I felt like I was on top for once. I was the quarterback and the straight A student. I could do things now I had no idea I could do before. Miss Lanzer and Mr. Turek were my mentors for the next 4 years. I could explain to them what I was trying to do or show them what I was trying to do, and they understood me. They gave me the education that I would have for the rest of my life. Even though school was tough and I tried my best, nothing had my full attention as art class did. By my senior year, I took all my gen eds classes early so I could basically spend my entire senior year in the art room. I was featured in art shows, art galleries, and even won a couple of art contests 2 years in a row. My art teachers gave me the confidence and encouraged myself to pursue an art career. I joined the U.S. Army in 1999 after high school. The Army life was different. I found myself alone. One day I was sitting on some bleachers drawing a picture of a dragon fighting a samurai warrior. Before I knew it, there was a crowd around me watching me draw. Everyone in my platoon, including the drill sergeants, knew I was an artist now. In the 3 years that I served, I painted over 10 murals. Even in the Army, I had a hard time paying attention and remembering information. I went to a mental health doctor, and after my first session, I was diagnosed with ADHD. He told me that was why I had such a hard time with school, and art was a great way to cope with it. I had no idea that this whole time I was ADHD. After the Army, I enrolled into the American Academy of Art and graduated 3 years later. I worked in a sign shop for 3 years. I even got myself into the tattoo business. Tattooing was a great way to make fast money and to meet new people. I have been doing art for as long as I can remember. Being a father and teaching my children how to draw is really fun. Watching them draw exactly how I taught them was such a wonderful feeling that it made me think about becoming an art teacher. Getting to this point in my life has been a very long journey, and since a very young age, I have learned so much about art that I feel it's time to give back. I would love to work with children with learning disabilities too. If art was my way to cope with my struggles and I have made it this far, then maybe I can be that next art teacher that can make the future a better place for those like me. Giving art early in elementary school would be a great way to teach children self-confidence and build skills that can help them do better in other subjects such as English and math. This is why I feel art education is so important.